which is one of the with a package name for today. With a black name for all the suits, wax, for sure that is a place to see. So, I will, because I want to listen. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming back after lunch here. We've got two great panels for you this afternoon. Before we have our filmmaker cocktail reception at 7 o'clock, we're going to start off with the secrets of award-winning festival marketing. I know that's why we've got so many people in the seats, so let's go. Catherine, take it over.
Hello, hello. Yes, it is. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to come. It's nice to see this room is really packed. I will be looking at my phone. I promise it's for my notes. I'm not going to be texting and reading it. I have a fantastic panel. I'm really, really excited to join me. Some of them I know, some of them I'm getting to know today. So I'm going to ask everyone to introduce themselves so I don't butcher their profiles. But please, everyone, one by one, introduce yourselves, share what you do, and feel free to boast. Go ahead.
My name is Fred Paik. I'm the founder and owner of Cultivate IP Group. It's an agency that primarily deals with a lot of entertainment studio properties, Paramount, Fox, DreamWorks, Disney. I shifted probably into a bit of the unscripted space as well in development in the past few years, and then also the indie space for also some of the shortlist award campaigns.
She's so good. I'm giving just testing 1, 2, 3. Hello. My name is David Magdale. I am the founder and CEO of David Magdale and Associates. I work mostly in the documentary space, both shorts and features. I've been doing this over 20 years. Woo! It goes by really fast. But I like working in the doc space because it's for me that's kind of like where my passion is in that. It's so. Well, I'm just looking around the room. It's just so great to see so many of you are really interested in and so many of you are making movies, and it's so great that you guys are making your films and being here at this festival. I've known this festival for also 20 years, and it's just a really great space for you guys to be here. So those who have films here, congratulations. Um, do a lot of awards campaigns and a lot of festival campaigns. This past year, we had the short documentary, The Last Repair Shop, that won, and then we also had some of the other ones that were in there. I work a lot with Catherine.
How many Oscars and Oscar nominations you've had?
I don't know. There's been a lot. I think it's like 12 wins in the last 20 years. So we've been really fortunate. But I started in shorts. So in 1999, I started in a short documentary section, and that won one. It was one of those things of being at the right place at the right time. Someone said, "Hey, would you do my Oscar campaign?" And I was like, "Who's going to ask me to do that? Of course I can do that." Um, but I say all that with all of you that are making shorts. As I'm just leave this, it's like it's a great place for you to start to begin and to get really like hone your craft in for that. But I look forward to talking some more later.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sylvia DeRocher. I'm the EVP of film at NPR Communications. So I'm also a publicist. I work primarily in independent film, mix of narrative and documentary. And I do work with shorts in very select situations. So I spend a lot of time telling people not to hire me so I can talk about. I'm happy to talk about that today. And then in select situations where we really feel like we can help someone, we will work with a short. And I'm a working mom and my son is here today. So if you see me looking over, it's because I'm trying to make sure he's not, so that I'm not ignoring you. I'm just need to make sure he's not getting himself into trouble. Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm done. Okay. Hello. Okay. Hi, I'm Nancy Collet. I am the founder of a company called Cinema Collet, which I started about 15 years ago when I left my full-time job as head of programming at AFI Fest. So I was doing feature, doc, short, all of the above. We had about 150 films from 40 countries every year for 10 years. So that was a great experience. Watching a whole lot of movies and honing my craft at that, traveling around the world. And then I decided I didn't want to just work for AFI, so I launched my own company. So the first half
the first 7 years of that was programming other film festivals around the world. I helped launch the Abu Dhabi Festival, a festival in Cabo. I worked in Malibu. I worked at Heartland, a lot of different festivals, a lot of regional festivals, which I hadn't been to when I was at AFI. So that was really interesting. And there's a lot of great benefits to screening at those kind of festivals too. And now most of my work is consulting with filmmakers. When an independent filmmaker finishes a film and then they realize they have no idea how to get it out into the world, and is what festivals might be right, could they sell their film, they need an agent, they need a manager, just all of those things that they just don't really know how to do. So they find me and I help them in a variety of ways getting their films out into the world, including at this festival where I had a film yesterday screening in the Shorts block called Out of the Dark, Cal Calamia. So love this festival. It's a great place to launch your film. So congrats to any of you who have films here. But if you don't have a film here, it's great that you're here anyway, because this is how you get your film here next year. So, Sendri.
That is so true. My name is Sandrine Cassidy. I work at USC Film School, Cinematic Arts. I have been there for about 26 years. I'm French. Before that, I worked in France at a company called Unifrance that is promoting French cinema outside of France. And at USC, I have the privilege to work with students, helping them with the strategy of festivals for their shorts. The school owns the copyright the film, so I also license. I'm a distributor, and I help them in making career choices. I have in the last 10 years started to work with alumni when they need the same help with their own shorts and sometimes features. I help them find partners such as Nancy, or help them direct to the right network for the films that they have. It can be very lonely to be an independent filmmaker, and in a way, making the film is not the end of it; it's the beginning of the next road. And I love to help them find their partners to help them with after the film is shot and edited.
How lucky are we to have this fantastic panel? So, my name is Catherine Lynn Scott. It's my third year being the publicist for Holly Shorts, which I love doing. We also specialize in live action film and work on awards. We've had 32 Oscar nominations and 6 wins in 8 years for our films. But London Flair is 17 this year. So time does fly, David. Now, this is going to be very interactive because I don't know about you, but I hate going to a panel where you're just sitting there. So I hope you're not shy, okay? The first thing I want you to do is, who has a film here? Please put your hand up. Great. Congratulations. There's 6,000 films submitted here. So just having a film here is incredible. I want to go back, okay? What happens before you even make your film? What do you need to think about before you make your film? I'm sure the publicists and also our experts over there will share with you that we've seen really good films who have really bad stills. And as publicists and as promoters, we need to have good materials. So who wants to jump in about, thinking about getting a stills photographer and putting that in your budget before you even start? Does anyone want to talk about that?
Sure.
Importance of stills.
It actually just happened to me. I'm working with a filmmaker who, yes, he's still in post, but he has also just been applying to some big international festivals. We got and I just came on like a week before, and the first thing I did was, well, share your photos with me, and it was terrible. They were all the film is in black and white. They were all really darkly lit. They were not there was no thought at all going into them, and it was like the film is amazing. So I was like, how is this possible that you didn't have a photographer? But whatever. So we ended up having to watch the whole thing through, pull screen grabs, brighten them up. It's just so much work to do it later, and it still doesn't come out as good. So I really, really encourage you, do not make PR and marketing an afterthought. Think of it from the very beginning, whether it's like initially coming up with your budget for it, even though you don't need it later, while you're shooting, hiring a photographer, or not even hiring, getting someone who I get a lot of you have low budgets, but a lot can be done with no money. Trade favors, have somebody that who's a photographer take stills, and you do something for them. You help write their press kit. I don't know.
And just to parlay what you're saying, I think if you even have like friends who have a camera, you can invite them to the set, give them a credit on your credit roll. It's like publicity photos or something. Same thing with social media. You might want to have that person come on and do that too. So think of places where you don't have to pay for that, but someone that may want to be part of your project.
But I will say for a short, though, one thing to keep in mind is you only need 1 or 2 good shots. I don't need like 20 shots. You need 1 or 2. So don't, spend all your budget trying to get, those 1 or 2 shots. Pick a good day, a day that's going to have the characters, get a photo that tells a story. You want that one that you're going to use for your catalog over and over again at film festivals. That's like the most important photo, because shorts aren't going to have posters as much. You do, but no one, uses them the same way as a feature. So you got to have that one photo. So that's what I would tell you is, don't blow your whole budget on the photographer. Just get me 1 or 2 and I'm good.
Yeah, that one photo is going to compete with the 7 other shorts in your block for the one photo that's going to go at the top of the section. So if your photo's the best, everyone will know your photo.
And it'll get used more. What you see in film festivals, when they promote the films, they use one picture, make your picture the best, and it's more likely to be there.
And in press, if there's happens to
100%.
be a story about it, we've also the TIFF lineups just came out. The photos that are really interesting, doesn't really matter what the film's about. They just are going to grab the best looking photo in that IndieWire article, and those are the 3 photos. So you want a really good photo.
Sure. And if I think one thing I could say is I think a lot of times, because you guys are so creative, you get caught up in the production side of things, right? And then you're in post, and then you go and you say, I need a PR person, I need marketing. And the problem is it's not instant oats, right? It's an extremely competitive market, especially from the short side. So I think that, look, I think there's great collaboration, like they're saying, is there's people with cameras, there's people that want to help you. And while you're doing your planning for your film, or when you're middle production, it's a great time to say, this is where I want to be. This is the thumbprint of my film and where I want it to be seen. So I know this is about winning awards. It's really more about how are you creating that thumbprint that people are going to see that film. The film's, most of you, I'm going to be honest, you're not going to win the grand jury, but your film is going to be seen. There's a lot of people. This is a great festival, right? And so your film is going to be seen. Now, what do you want to do after the film screens? Do you want to be able to have a trajectory where there's life after that, or do you want to just stop? Because the one thing I would tell all filmmakers or creatives is you want to keep momentum going. You never want to just stop there. So a simple thing that you can do is Google Press Kit, Google EPK. That'll have elements that you will need that you can do yourself and put a little time in. And it's not that hard, and it'll really help you short.
And if you don't know what's in one, just ask a film festival to send you an example. I'm sure they will. All right, I want to touch on social media. Now, I'm not an expert, but I always advise our clients to put Instagram at least in the name of the film, because especially as a short film, they might not know the filmmakers yet. So I think it's really good when you make the film to create the Instagram then. Now, something I'm going to do for you all is I want to pass a piece of paper around. If everyone wants to write their Instagram down and their email, I don't know, there's 40, 50 people there. I can send that to everyone. And if everyone follows everyone else, you've got 50 more followers. So but we can touch on it. I don't know, because I'm not an expert, but it's free marketing. Right? Facebook, X, and don't Facebook, don't think it's just older people. There's a lot of important people on there. I know the youngsters think it's for older people. There's a lot of important people there. So anyone want to add to that?
I mean, one of the things that I've had to learn as part of my business is the social media side of things. And I'm old. I'm like 49 years old, so I'm not young. It's you've got to learn it, or you've got to have someone that knows how to operate it. I would say something like an Instagram is extremely effective for getting your content out there and drawing interest. The one thing that I would reference when it comes to Facebook, you can run your ads through Facebook so that you basically have an ad system set up. These ads are kind of set it and forget it, and they're running and accumulating hits and likes and shares. And I would highly suggest that you have a social media budget. I mean, if you put away two to 300 for a month, you can pretty much run ads on the lower level and get hits and get your content out there. TikTok, I would say Instagram, like maybe you do a post every other day, maybe once a week when you're leading up to your festival. And then something like a TikTok, it's a different thing. It's like feed the beast. They want you posting as much as possible. So it's just these things that are things that you can learn. They're painful. I gotta be honest with you. Social media is a giant pain in the butt, but it's free, like she's saying. It's like you get the right people following you. This is when also all your friends, when you're posting stuff, get them to share, like everything. That will work the algorithm. And I think there's probably a lot of people here that they don't want to deal with it, but somebody bring on an intern, man. Get someone young that knows the space, and you'll see results tenfold from that. I think it's really important.
And when you're at festivals like this, swap Instagram. Like we're doing now. Speak to each other, swap, because you can get more and more, more and more followers. You kind of help each other.
And also, too, if you have somebody that's younger than 27, assign them that to do all their social media because they live on there all the time and they will know how to work this. I mean, I had asked the people in my office, like, do I need to be on TikTok? And they said, no, you're a boomer. Like, oh. And they were right, but they know how to maneuver that because they're on it all the time. It doesn't feel like work for them, but you can assign that to them and you can give them a credit in your film as the social media person.
Yeah. The other thing that I've seen a lot of filmmakers have big success with is if you do have somebody well known in your film, or that you happen to know somebody who is, in a similar area, that is liking the film, then it's really nice to, make that very specific ask. You can't ask them 100 times to post about your movie, but that one moment where you got into Holly Shorts or whatever, you got a great review, then you can ask them. And, some of these people, it's just insane. They have millions of followers, and that just can give you a huge boost if you can politely get that done.
Thank you. And I'd love Nancy and Sandrine to talk about budgeting for festivals when you're doing your budget to make a film, because I'm sure we've got the lovely Katie from Festival Formula here, and she's amazing. But it's something people don't think about, like, because you're making the film, and that's hard enough for independent filmmakers to do, is put the budget together for a film. You don't think then about what how much you need to put into for submitting for festivals or taking on someone like Katie who's an expert in that field. So I'd love the lovely ladies at the end to talk a bit more about that.
Yeah. Well, I think it is very important to think about your budget, and it can be really overwhelming. There are so many festivals that you want to, that sound so great. It's very easy to burn your entire budget in 2 months. What I don't really work on budgets for festivals. What I do is I help them get the best for their buck. So I look at the wish list of festivals, and I can see where sometimes you put in the biggest festival first, and it's a very unrealistic A-type festivals for 6 months that are all beach festivals, and you end up after 6 months having no selection and no more budget. So really strategizing from the beginning once you know how much you can spend. If you haven't thought about it, there are some filmmakers who actually do crowdfunding just for festival runs, which can also help. Also, don't forget that there are some countries like in Europe that have very cheap or free festivals still, because there are countries that have cultural funds that finance and help festivals. So you can always find really good festivals for less expensive. Yeah.
And check out the deadlines. It's cheaper to submit early than it is late.
Yeah, I was just about to say. I mean, it literally will double from the earliest deadline to the latest deadline. So don't submit late. Just get in as early as possible. You can submit to twice as many festivals, and don't just apply to 4 or 5 festivals. A festival like this, how many did you say they got? 7,000?
6,100.
So the odds are against you no matter what. So do your homework. Don't just apply to festivals that have no connection to the, see what they showed last year, the year before. A lot of festivals have brochures online from years back. Look and see, is my film fitting in? And, ask other people, because it's hard to have the distance when it's your own film. You're like, oh yeah, everyone's going to like it. I always ask my clients, like, who's your audience? And they always say, like, everybody. It's like, no, it's not everybody. There's a specific audience that's going to want your film, and the festival too knows their audience. So don't just apply willy-nilly. Really think about it. Some top-tier festivals, some local festivals. Who do you know? Is it a Jewish film? Jewish festivals. Is it a comedy? Comedy festivals. The shorts festivals have, 5 times as many slots as a regular festival that's also showing features. So think about that, and, give yourself some odds, and ask all the people on your film, where have you had your film at a festival? Those festivals will also give you alumni discounts, and you're much more likely to get in if someone who already had a film there, which is in your film team, even if it's not you, maybe your producer, your editor, your DP, any of those people are your community. So reach out to them too to help lower your budget and have more access.
Can I ask them a question? Is that okay?
Listen, you can answer whatever you like. So can all of you. If you think of a question, just put your hand up.
Okay, I'm curious about you two when you're advising people, because I work with you a lot. I send filmmakers to you all the time. I won't stop doing that just because I'm asking you this. But do you tell people to prioritize like Oscar qualifying festivals? I suppose it depends on their goal, but like, is it
Usually-
generally like that's a good rule of thumb for what's good? Because the feedback I get from filmmakers a lot, and this is not my world, I usually come on later, but when I do talk to people early on, they feel very overwhelmed by like Festival Freeway or whatever you guys use. It's so many. And so I sometimes, without having, I really don't know if this is the right advice, but I sometimes say, we'll start with the Oscar qualifying festivals, because at least they've gone through a vetting process, and they're not some random festival. I mean, I don't know. I'd love to hear your take on that.
It's true. Not all Oscar qualifying festivals are created equally. That's
Sure.
one thing.
Sure.
Some
And
festivals
not
do
every
not
film is
deserve
an
to
Oscar
be on that
film,
list,
right? Yeah.
and some are amazing. So that's one barometer. There's other lists too. Movie Maker makes there's, ask people that what festivals they've had good experiences at, because it's not necessarily the Oscar qualifying list
Right.
at all for shorts. But if you do want to qualify for the Oscar, it's one way to get in. No guarantee. You not only need to get in, you need to win the grand jury prize. It is very, very difficult to qualify that way, but it's one option. But I would also say, because of budgets being so small, especially for shorts, make sure if you live in LA that you apply to some things you could drive to. Concentrate on, like, where can I go where I don't need to fly across the country and use all my money on something like that. The festivals don't usually fly out short filmmakers. Maybe they'll find a homestay or a hotel discount. So make sure that you apply to at least a handful where you can, attend. And festivals love when you say that you can attend, because they know there'll be butts in seats. So it's also great to be like, oh, I grew up there. I want to come. I want to bring all my friends and family. The festivals definitely pay attention to that.
Yeah, I think the qualifying is one way to have a clue about the quality of of a festival, but the number of years it's been going on, you have to almost have a kind of a strategy for yourself. What do you want out of festivals? Do you want cash prize? Do you want awards? Do you want to qualify for an Oscar? Do you want to travel? It's fair. Like, do you want to see international films? Do you want to go to Tokyo? I don't know. So have a whole list so that you know how many, like, oh, I'm looking at this festival, how many things can they provide that's on my list of things I need, because it's very easy to get sidetracked. There's also, as Nancy said, a lot of the A-type and festivals that show features will take maybe 4 or 5 programs of shorts, meaning it's one animation program, one documentary program, one maybe special theme program, and you are running for slots on 2 programs that's international. So that's really, really small numbers. So you have to balance your strategy with festivals that are taking, like Holly Shorts and other festivals, a large number of shorts because it makes your chances bigger. Also, I have gone on the road in the last couple years to really explore the festivals that are called filmmaker experience festivals, because you can go to a very important and prestigious festival, but with a short have a terrible time because nobody is there for shorts and nobody cares about you, and it's really expensive. And there are a lot of shorts, maybe they don't fly you, but they put you up, they feed you lunch, breakfast, and dinner. Some of them, and they treat you, shorts and features, doesn't matter. You make friends, you discovered beautiful places. And in those kinds of festivals, attending makes a difference. And it is very, very common to see that the award winners goes to attending filmmakers. I've noticed it.
Great. Okay, here's where I want you guys to get involved. And don't be shy, because what I'm going to tell you might put you off getting involved. But okay, first of all, you're here. That's great. You're using the opportunity of being at this festival to get the most of it that you can. Holly Shots is a great filmmakers festival. They have so many great events. Go to everything. You know, you've got a filmmakers pass, it will get you in everything. Go to everything you can, watch as many films as you can, talk to as many filmmakers as you can. But have you, I'm sure you've all had this experience. You explain to somebody about your film, they tell you about theirs, and you're glazing over in 1 second because they're like, you know, it's about a girl, and the girl goes down the road and she meets this boy, and you're like, so all of you have to learn or practice how to explain to somebody or sell your film in 2 sentences. So who's going to be brave enough to stand up and I know you can. I won't be picky, I promise. But who's going to be brave enough to stand up? Go ahead. Okay. I know we had a question there. We will get to it. Okay, go ahead. Please stand up and tell us about your film.
Hi everyone, my name is Michael Perez Lindsay, here with my husband, Rhett Lindsay. I'm in the festival. We did air already. We were Friday at 5. The short's called Will I See You Again? So the story is about two men who are estranged after 20 years, and their mutual friend passes away. And during their estate hearing, they're forced to confront their past relationship while connected to a polygraph machine.
That is so good, right? Let's give him a clap.
Well, also too, with what you just said, it's going to create someone to ask more. So you've opened that door, and then whoever you're talking to, whether it be a press person, other filmmakers, even potential agents or people like that in the audience, they're going to ask you the next question, so you can expand them on that. So it's always like, what is your 8-second soundbite or less? So that was perfect.
Okay, someone else who wants to go next. Okay, go.
Hi there. My film was inspired during the pandemic. I wanted to make something that used the fewest possible resources, so I made it using only my body and my iPhone. Everything in the film is made of my body, and it was inspired by Zoom grids. So there's hundreds or thousands of little squares that make up each image, and it was about the intersection of technology and being a human, and how we can use technology to actually support humanity instead of harming it.
Okay, it's great, but I would make it shorter. You've got to streamline it to kind of make it a little bit, you know, a couple of sentences. It sounds interesting, but you can make it more interesting.
Okay. It's called Corpus and the Wandering.
All right, let's do one more, and then I've got some great questions that are publicists. Okay, whoever stands up first can go. All right. That was wrong. I think it was a gentleman in the blue. Go ahead. You can practice this with each other later.
Hello. My film is about.
The name of
You hear
it?
me? Yes, my film is called Kinetic. Can I borrow that? I'm just handing out little posters. My film's called Kinetic. It's about two brothers who try to literally catch lightning in a bottle to save their family business. So, that's it.
Great. Just go a little bit slower. I have a tendency of talking
No
too
problem.
fast, so sorry, but just a bit slower, and that's perfect. Okay. Do this a lot when you're in the festivals. Talk to everyone. Now, I want to have my lovely publicist here jump in to talk about having a good synopsis and a good trailer. Whoever wants to go first.
Well, I'm actually so glad you did that exercise because when I do media training with my filmmaker clients, I always say to them, one of the scariest questions I see filmmakers get, especially in interviews or press opportunities, is, "Oh, what's your film about?" And I just see this look of sheer terror come over their faces, like they've never been asked this question before. So you want to be ready to answer it. It's great to be able to, if you can say it in this room, you're fine. I'm not worried about you, but you need to be able to say it in a room like this. Maybe say it to, sometimes saying it to a friend or your spouse or something. Sometimes that's the scariest thing. That's your mom. That's who you need to practice on, whoever scares you the most, so that you feel really comfortable saying that in any situation. And I always say to them, imagine you're on you get in an elevator and someone says, "Oh, what are you here for?" "I'm here for the festival." "Oh, me too." "Oh, what's your film about?" You have to answer that question before they get off the elevator. So
Great
that's what you want to
example.
think about, is like, I got to say this and then get out. Then I also want you to have a little bit longer version, maybe 3 or 4 sentences. You can get more into, I would say, not even details of the synopses, like what's the heart? What's the underlying thing? I don't really go to films to see the synopses. I go because I want to feel something. So maybe start tying in that. And then you can have a longer version at a cocktail party, or maybe you're doing 60 minutes and you get to talk more about the actual, like, sort of story of the film, maybe a little bit of the background of why you made it. What was the story behind it? That's always the sort of 3-act structure, if I will, that I give clients to think about. That's for features too. I think for shorts, you make everything that I just said a tiny bit shorter.
If I may just say one more thing, is that there is also, I see this all the time. You are at a party and all you talk about is your film. If they don't like your film, you're done with these people. Like, they will not talk to you, they will not listen to you anymore. So try to connect first on a personal level. These people may like your next film. These people might be your festival buddy for the rest of the week. So really be a human being, and then you're a filmmaker. And then when you talk about your film, read the room. Listen, look at their face. If they told you they have 30 seconds, then it's not a good time. Just try to catch them the next day. So it's really also, I think networking is a terrifying word, and you all know how to get to a bar and talk to the person next to you. It's the same thing, but talking about your film, which is difficult, but connect on a personal level, because they'll remember that you love soccer and that but they will not remember your film if they don't like the story or you talk too much and you annoyed them.
Well, I love that you said that, because I always tell people, I'm like, just be a human being. We're just trying to be humans here, and be curious about the other people. Because I also see sometimes filmmakers do this where you're like so absorbed about your own project that you forget to ask other people about not just their projects, but, who are you? Where are you from? What's your story? Just, yeah, be normal. Yeah, it's like such good life advice. Sandrine just gave you honestly, just in life, just do what she said and you'll be fine. I hope Shep was listening.
I see we've only got 15 minutes, how fast this is going. So I just want to tap into very quickly, if maybe Fred and David want to talk a little bit about the trailers and synopsis.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the trailer, it should be short. It should be, it should grab your attention. I would say if you have people that are within the industry, share an early cut, kind of get some feedback, send it to people that you trust. I think that's always helpful. And it's not bad to have a short version and a longer cut that you can share at a certain point. Synopsis, keep it short. I mean, no one likes to read. It's really hard to get people to even read a script, watch something. So the trailer is important. It's kind of going to be your showpiece, especially for a short. So it needs to be good. Like I said, share it with people that you trust. If you have someone that you say, hey, I really trust the way that they think, their feedback, then it's valuable. I mean, there's people that I wouldn't trust because I don't want their opinion, because it's not necessarily going to be good for what I want. So get it to people that you trust. And sometimes when you're working on this for so long, you get too close to it. Everybody gets that way. So get it to some fresh eyes and get that feedback. Don't get hurt if you don't like what you hear, and just take it and go, all right, this is what I need to hit, and these are kind of things that I'm missing, and then you'll be in good hands.
I'm going to chime in.
Add something.
Sorry. I'll jump in first. Yes, but also do not send a trailer to a programmer because their job is to watch the entire film. Don't get them put off. What if they don't like the trailer? They will never see the film. So, the professionals whose job it is to see the entire film, you should send the entire film. Otherwise, they think they've seen it, which is absolutely not true.
I was just going to say, with regard to trailers, I've seen a lot of filmmakers who say, "Oh, well, everybody tells me my trailer is great," but the only people that they showed their trailer to are like their parents. So, get some people whose opinion you really respect and tell them that you want like real feedback on the trailer, because that's the only way it's going to get better. And I actually really recommend not making your own trailer if you possibly can. Have someone who that's what they do. It's not that expensive. I mean, it exists at every price range. I've had filmmakers pay $18,000 for a trailer and $250 for a trailer. So you can find it in the price that you need, but like I do think that it's not necessarily something that you know how to do, even if you know how to make a great film. And for shorts, I also don't think it's necessary.
And I would say the same for synopses is you can probably find someone at every price point to help you. I mean, I usually adopt a filmmaker's synopses. I'm sure David has this experience too, where it's not great, or Catherine too. It's not great, and we rewrite it. You might not be able to afford us, but you can find someone who's a writer who can help you. And don't just do Chat GPT, please. I'm not against AI, right? I use it to help with my writing all the time now because why not? But don't just feed something into an AI bot and use what it comes out. It has to have a voice. And so I would caution you against that. I would caution you against that, or else programmers are going to get so sick of seeing the same AI written synopses over and over again. Like spend a couple $100 to get someone who knows how to write and elicit something in a sentence or two. And it can make a big difference down the road, because you may not be in a position to hire, somebody who's coming on to do a whole campaign for you, but you can have a good, pithy, elegant synopses.
But I think you can also make it personal. So it comes from you as the filmmaker, because that's what's going to fly, even if it's 2 sentences or 3 sentences, as long as people can feel what your film is about. And with the trailers, it's really interesting because I don't ask my people to put
I don't
trailers
either.
together because it's like it's a time suck for you unless you have time to do it. And unless
Unless you need it.
you need it. I
Sometimes
mean,
you need it, but unless you need it, I don't have a situation typically for a short
right.
where I'm like,
But
I need that trailer.
Yeah,
but if you
I
feel
like
like
it.
you're like you
like
really
it.
want to
You
do
like
it,
having
you like
them.
having trailers?
But only because, there's been quite a few times when I've been able to use it as an exclusive. It's more perhaps when you've got a few names, but there are times when you can send it to a publication and say, look, this hasn't been seen. Can you do it as an exclusive? That's where I like it.
Well, I agree with you when we're trying to get like an exclusive, but it's rare that we get an exclusive
Right.
trailer on a short.
Yeah.
We were able to get something at Tribeca that had Margaret Cho in it.
Or
So that
Catherine
had
King.
her, but that was the only reason I got through. And on other shorts, it was like we didn't care, So I think just because it's going to cost you money, it's going to cost you time. Sometimes some filmmakers just put together like a teaser that has all the bunch of stuff that they think they want to see and what their friends may want to see. It's something that you can also reuse again on social media, whether it's Instagram or whatever you're using, and maybe that's the way to go. But I always, when I hear the word trailer, I get like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, for me, I like to have them, but teasers also work. If you can just, and it's hard for a short to make a good trailer because you got to pick from the film without, giving a spoiler. Right? We have only a short
Just
time.
add one more thing about
ahead.
materials to put together. I really think it's important to have some kind of director's statement.
Oh yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
especially for a film that's like a documentary or a cause issue or whatever, but it's just I think it's so helpful for programmers too, for critics, just for them to where did this film come from. Don't just put a synopsis in that. It's really about why did you make this movie, what did it mean to you, something, it really makes the whole thing much more personal. So I recommend you spend a lot of time working on that as well.
And bios.
Oh, definitely
Bios.
bios. Yeah.
But we had a question. Sorry, I know you waited a while. Please share.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that right now. But yeah, go ahead.
The question for me is once a film gets Oscar or BAFTA qualified,
Mhm.
often our short filmmakers are new and emerging filmmakers who really don't know what the next steps in that process is. So can you talk in some depth about what you should do once your film gets Oscar qualified by winning one of the top awards?
Okay, I would.
You call Catherine. She'll walk you through it.
And then I say no, no, I'm joking. No, you know what? I would find a publicist, send it to the publicist once you qualify, even if you don't have the money to pay for them yet, or you don't know. Send it to someone as soon as you are, because they're going to tell you, yes, I'm interested. No, I'm not. But at least you have that on board. And if you need to do crowdfunding to help raise money for that, it makes a lot of sense. And I'm just not sure if you all know, but this lady mentioned the BAFTA. Now, Holly Shorts is now BAFTA qualified from this year, which is amazing. It is only for British filmmakers, and you have to be in 2 festivals to qualify. They've changed it slightly, so you would be in this festival and one other, but that does give British filmmakers the opportunity to submit to the BAFTAs. I do want to touch kind of on a little bit about the Oscars. I was going to say, do you know what? Ask the question, what does a publicist do? Does everyone know, or should we? If you're good on that, let's just go straight to the Oscars then. David, maybe do you want to talk a little bit about the no, but when a film approaches you, what do you look for? And I know it's a too long, it's a whole nother panel to talk about the Oscars. But
It's interesting because
briefly.
we're talking about shorts, and like when short films approach me, it's like I kind of shy away from doing shorts for doing PR. So I have 3 films that are here at this festival. I'm not doing any press around them because it's so hard to get press for them here at this at any kind of a shorts festival unless we get nominated or even to a short list. It's just so difficult with trade press and with others. However, there are ways that we can figure out making the best out of a festival like this. Here you have Holly Shorts, and we're at the Chinese theater, and they got the best kind of projection. Build that audience out of all that. But press wise, I don't know. Are you working on any films here that you're working on
No,
press wise?
no,
Yeah.
I don't take. I
Yeah.
do things a little differently because I really don't take a lot of
And I'll
shorts to
look at them,
festivals.
but
Yeah.
it's like for a lot of things that I was getting sent from this festival were
Yeah.
horror films,
Yeah.
and those are really difficult to get any press to cover it. However, what they do is because Catherine is so good at what she does, is they've got a press list that she works with, and she's trying to find places that can actually cover your film in the festival. Have all your materials ready. Let her know, or anyone, any festival that you go to, that you're available, that your film is available for any kind of review or anything like that. But for us as a publicist, I usually don't get brought on until like they're trying to make an Oscar run, and even with that, it gets kind of like tricky because it's like, okay, what has been your trajectory? Where have you been?
I do get press for shorts, but you have to be realistic. So we have some films in the festival, and we've got quite a lot of press for each of them, but it's not going to be a trade, and that's what you have to set expectations of what you're going to get early. So I do sometimes work with films in festivals, not that many. There's not all the film festivals are press-worthy film festivals, even if they're Oscar qualifying. But we do have some films in this, and we're getting lots of reviews for them. And where that's good, even if it's a film blog, you can take that review, you can post it on socials, and you can take a one line and put it on your poster. So yes, we do get press for films, but it's you can't come to a publicist thinking, as David rightly said, that's going to be variety. It's not. You can get good film press. I don't know, Awards Daily, Film Threat, other kinds of good film publications. So you will get press, but it's not going to be the kind of level that you're going to get when it's the Oscars. The other thing for sure is it's not worth doing it a year worth of press. It's like, no way. If you're going to do if you take on a publicist for a festival, 1 month is all you should do before your Oscar or BAFTA, anything qualified, because it's just going to be a waste of money. You need to get enough for that and just kind of start it as being a little buzz for the film and wait. I mean, but it depends. I mean, David is a brilliant Oscar publicist, and he will undersell himself. But he's right. It's like when you're looking at trades, you're not going to get them.
And I think people have to be realistic. You've got to look at your film and see like what is the purpose of the film. Most of you, like I said, is not going to win the grand jury, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to help your career and be seen. And I agree with them. It's like most of the filmmakers that I spoke with, I turned down. Spoke with them, gave them advice, but I turned down because it's not instant oats, and it's going to be difficult to get you what you want and actually charge them the fee that we normally charge, and then everyone's satisfied. But for me, I would work with shorts if they have, like I said, if they have momentum at some of the festivals, we can be more of a strategic team. And it's not just PR, but kind of guiding them through the process, doing introductions to managers, agents, some distributors, and kind of running a longer tail. I mean, I can give it a quick example. There's a film, Ball and Vase, that starred Austin Pendleton that I repped 2 years ago. That film screened Holly Shorts, did not win Holly Shorts. It did win a grand jury, so it was a qualifier, and we did an Academy campaign. We knew going in that is not going to win Academy, and it's not going to get shortlisted. It was very tough, but that film ended up getting distribution through PBS. Is national now, and then it also, it's still going now, and that's the way you want to do it.
amazing work, Fred.
So, I mean, that's what you do is you leverage it and you try to see like how can I get more value out of this. Another one that we had a South by Southwest was Prospect. It was a sci-fi film made for 22,000 by two guys. That film got an award and then it was made into a full feature. I came on when the full feature came out, and that was with Pedro Pascal. And I think they got about $4 million in funding for that. But, they leveraged a $22,000 film that won a single award, but they used the PR machine behind it and the really cool aspects because it was a sci-fi film to get it made into a feature. So that's the way you look at it. It doesn't have to win an Oscar. You leverage what you have that are the strongest points, but don't throw your money away again at you think you're going to get something quickly at a festival. Find someone that's a good fit for you that wants to help you grow as a filmmaker. And I think Dave and I were talking, we don't take on a lot of shorts. We're very specific on who we work with because we look for people that are creative, that are kind of maybe burgeoning in their careers, or that we want to work with that, we see upside, that are fun and they have cool stuff going on. So it's just, again, it's about the right fit, I think, before they're.
I mean, but also when we do take a short, I don't know if I'm speaking for you, it's like it has to move me.
Yeah.
Because
Has
and if
to.
someone says, okay, I want to make sure that I can get to the Oscars, it's like, okay, don't mortgage your house. But, it's just the film. And I look at, I got it. Let's say one has got it Oscar qualified. Okay, where they want to go next. Then we start looking at what are the other festivals that if an Oscar voter is going to look at your film to maybe even watch the film, they want to know where it went. What was the trajectory? What other festivals did it play? Where else are we going to go? And then we start going in deeper. Like, so I have a film that's here called Cancelled, and she is an Oscar member, Fern Perlstein, but it was also produced by Trevor Noah. And it's about cancel culture. So what we've been doing with that, she played the Jewish Film Festival. She's playing some other festivals, but everywhere we go, we're just inviting Oscar members in there to watch the film. It doesn't mean it's going to do anything, but we want to create that buzziness around it so that way people are talking about it and see the film too. It's a very kind of it's not a slam dunk. It's a very kind of a tricky situation. Every film is so different from the next of what has to be done. So it's like even with Last Repair Shop, someone said we want you to recreate that. You can't. It depends on how the film is going to do. With that particular film, we've got it in the Telluride. We knew she would probably take it, so we knocked on her door early.
Okay, David did an amazing campaign on that film.
And it jumped out of there, and we just kind of kept following it and pushing it out wherever we could. So that was and it was a film that delivered at the end of the day. So even if I knocked on doors and they watched it, people were like weeping. At the end, that was something that it just kind of kept going. And it's looking at that, and that's when you kind of need someone who can come on and this is what we need to take a look at. What is the possibility of you getting to the big show? And this is what it's going to cost because it's never cheap. You're also going to be running against Netflix, Nat Geo, Disney, everybody else who's going to throw probably close to $500,000 in the shortlist section. However, there's ways around it, and it just depends on if your film is strong enough for people like to walk out and like, oh, that's my movie. And that's what we try to do at these festivals is create champions of your film that like they can say that's my movie, and that's and a lot of small films do that. I know you worked on one I totally love last year about
Red, White, and
women
Blue.
that went over the borderline to go get an abortion, but I didn't even know that was happening until it came.
To be honest, a lot of our nominees and Oscar winners have been first-time filmmakers. So, we had 4 nominees out of the 5 live action this year. three of them were new filmmakers, and they were nominated alongside Wes Anderson. So if you've got a good film, there is a chance. It is harder now with all the Netflix and Disney spending a lot of money on their films and the rules changing, but there is a chance. Now I know that we've run out of time. There's so much more I wanted to talk about, but I didn't have time. But I'm sure I don't know if any of the panel have time to just answer anything after. If you talk to them for a moment, I'm sure they won't mind. But please put your hands together to thank my fantastic panel. And thank you all so much for taking the time to come. I'm sure, they were brilliant, right? So you would have learned a lot of information, and I really appreciate you coming. Thank you.
And our next panel is going to be at 6 p.m. So if you're sticking around for that, please do take your seats in about 10 or 15 minutes for that. At 6 p.m., that'll be our last panel of the day.